Hey guys, it is me again. Today is Thursday, December 22nd. Makes it day 356 on a project Serve Him More. Today is Mom and Dad's anniversary. Yeah, pretty sure I'm right about that. Yeah, I know I am. I don't know how long they've been married. 40. I don't know. She put her pennies in at church Sunday. Mom and Dad did for it. 43 years, 43 or 44 years, something like that. Been married a while. Anyway, guys, I want to thank y'all for being here. I'm going to try to, even though it's 2 a.m. again, I'm going to try to make this video a little bit longer, get a little bit more jibber jabber in on it, just kind of catch up with you guys. As always, it's good to be here. I hope you guys are doing all right. I appreciate you all commenting on my PT Cruiser video. I'm working on it. I tell you guys, and a matter of fact, I'm going to try to do it this week. I'm going to start at, which I do this about every winter. I'm going to advertise this week that we check engine lights for free. And I know a bunch of you guys mentioned about that, talking about, you know, the ready check engine light and stuff like that. And I noticed during our Christmas nativity scene, our drive-through, how many cars, and I'm talking about newer cars too. I'm not talking about, you know, maybe 95, 96, 97 models, you know, those too. But, you know, I'm talking about 2005, 2006, 2008 model cars that came through our drive-through with the check engine lights on them. And the thing is, guys, people will drive them just with the light on because they assume, well, the car's still running all right. I don't need to have that checked. And that could be the furthest thing from the truth. I tell you what will happen, and that's one reason I wanted to get this check engine light out on this PT Cruiser. You'll have a simple little problem that maybe don't need much attention to it. You know, maybe an evap leak or something like that, and you'll just let it go. Well, what will end up happening is you'll have a serious problem with the car, and you'll get used to that check engine light being on. So when you have this serious problem, it's already on. You think nothing else is wrong. I don't know how many cars I've checked, and I asked the people, where's your check engine light coming on? Well, yeah, it's been on since I bought the car. You know, and you'll go and check it, and sure enough, yep, right here, you know, and AutoZone checks them for free, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to advertise that we check engine lights for free, because I had rather do that is let the hacks at AutoZone do it. They don't know what they're doing. They're parts sellers. They're not mechanics. You know, they can pull a code out of a car, but they don't know how to interpret it. That's like I try to tell people. I try to tell a guy today. And guys, this is going to kind of tie in with what I was wanting to mention tonight. Guys, we need to give God credit with everything that we do, everything that we... My Snap-on man was talking about this the other day. I guess what kind of got me thinking about this. He's the #1 seller for the whole... I think they're in the Snap-on's kind of their... they call this the whatever region we're in. I don't know what they call it, but the... I know they have their show every year, he said, in Detroit. I mean, for this whole part of the country, he's the #1 salesman. He sells more than anybody. And he was talking about, he said, you know, I've been successful with this. He ran a coal company and brought it from losing money up to making millions. And I mean, he was not saying this to be bragging, but he said, you know, people say that I'm lucky, and people say that I'm talented and all this different stuff. He said, it's none of that. He said, it's that I'm blessed. He said, God gives me all these things, you know, when I need them. You know, and he wasn't trying to be like a prosperity pimp anyway. He was just saying that all these talents that he was good at, like was good at being a salesman and good at doing these things, was because God had blessed him with that, you know. And that's what I was going to get into, guys. Like, with me looking at these cars and fixing cars that nobody else can fix. I love getting cars in there that's already been to 3 or 4 garages, and I get these all the time. That people have already spent hundreds of dollars on, and the other garages couldn't fix them, and they bring them to me and I fix them. God's gave me that ability and that talent to do that, you know. And I know I kind of got off track and off base here a little bit, but you know, we got to give God the thanks for all that stuff, you know. And I had a guy today put a computer. He wanted to know if I could put. Some people think too you can hook the computer up to the truck and the computer's going to fix the truck, or the computer's going to. All that computer does is give you information. It tells you the diagnostic trouble codes, and then you can also look in the live data streams and actually watch the sensors working. You got to know how to interpret this information. That's why AutoZone is not any good to have your check engine light checked at. They can pull the same code up that I do, but they don't know how to interpret it. This guy had already had his truck from one mechanic because he mentioned to me, he said, yeah, so-and-so, and he said the name of a local mechanic that's pretty close to me. Check the fuel pressure on it and check some other stuff on it. Well, he couldn't figure it out. And we looked at the truck, and I drove the truck and checked some things, and I kept saying to myself, you know, it feels like the mass airflow sensor is not reacting right. You know, I've seen so many vehicles that's happened to. I know how they feel. So this guy's like going up hills. It felt like the passenger, it didn't want to kick it down into drive out of overdrive. Didn't have any power. Kind of like catalytic converters were stopped up. Well, they didn't have any catalytic converters on it. Somebody had already taken those off. But anyway, I was, you know, I prayed and I said, Lord, show me, you know, what's wrong with this vehicle. I want to be able to fix this. And he just kept telling me, he just kept putting in my heart, check your mass airflow sensor, check your mass airflow sensor. Because mass airflow sensors, when they get dirty, I'll tell you how mass airflow sensors work, guys, and they're one of the most important sensors on a car. They measure the air coming into the engine. So the PCM can change the fuel mixture according to how much air is coming in. They've got two little bitty thin wires that are basically the resistors. And they put voltage to these resistors and they heat up. Well, as the air comes across those resistors, you know, when a piece of metal's 500 degrees, the resistance through it is different than it is when it's at 50 degrees. So what they do, they can tell by the resistance through this. The computer measures the resistance through these little fine wires. It can tell what temperature that wire is. Well, that's how it measures the airflow. The more airflow coming across the wire, of course, the cooler it's going to get. The cooler it gets, the resistance changes, so it knows how much air is coming across it. Well, these little wires get, over the years, they just get a coating of dirt and grease and just crud on them, and it basically insulates them. So that sensor basically it still works, but it doesn't work right. The air is not cooling it off. So anyway, I took his sensor off, took my little pocket screwdriver, cleaned it, put it back on the truck, drove it, and he fixed it. And I come back and I told him, I said, I'm 99.9% sure your truck's fixed. I said, you need to drive it and tell me. And he said, well, I'm in a hurry to get home and this and that. He said, I'm just going to go home with it. I trust you. But I mean, it did. It fixed it. I know it did. But anyway, guys, God's just given me the ability to do that, you know, and I've done it for so many years, and I do have the equipment, you know, and you know, I do have the Identifix that I showed you guys, and all data. I pay $130 a month for Identifix. I pay $170 a month for all data. I'm a member of IATN, the International Automotive Technicians Network, which that's $45 every 3 months. I get information from all those places, and I stay on these websites learning and looking. But you know what? It's all because of God. If not for God, I couldn't do any of it. So anyway, guys, I've spent enough time jibber-jabbering tonight. I figured I could give you guys a little bit more. That's how Brother Ed mentioned, Budget Armory. He was talking about, you know, modern computer-controlled cars. Gotta love them. Believe it or not, guys, I actually do. I'd rather work on a 2010 model car than to be honest, for me, mid-80s model cars are the worst cars. Mid to late 80s, worst cars in the world to work on. Because they just had started going to some computer controls, but they hadn't really figured it out yet. I'd rather work on a 75 model that's just got a carburetor and a distributor. Or I'd rather work on a newer model. You know, 95, 96 actually. That's when they went to OBD2, 96 and up. I really had. I'd rather work on a newer model. I can fix them faster. I'm better at them. You know, it's just the truth. If you've got the equipment, you've got some know-how, you can fix them better. Now, the layman most of the time cannot, because he don't have the tools I've got and all that. But Anyway, guys, I just wanted to mention that, and something else Ed mentioned about having the computer. The sad thing is most cars now don't run a computer. Most cars now run multiple computers. Uh, a Chevy Trailblazer has got, it's either 13 or 15 computers in it. A Tahoe, same deal. Anything with a lot of power windows, power heated seats, and a lot of electrical stuff. They run computers. They'll run a computer for the engine. Guys, most cars will now. They'll run one for the engine, one for the transmission. They'll run one for the body controls, which is, you know, your wipers and stuff like that, your windows, stuff like that. They'll run one for the alarm system if it's got an alarm. They'll run one for the airbags. They'll run one for the analog brakes. And like I said, and they'll do multiples of these. You know, sometimes they'll use 2 of each or 3 of each. Like I said, I've ran into cars before with 13, 15, 17 computers in them. Now that gets a little hairy when you're trying to diagnose, you know, you're trying to find a problem and you're having to look through 13 or 15 computers. But most cars have 5 or less. But 3 to 5 is what most cars have got now. Separate computers. Or control modules, they call them. Anyway, guys, let's get to the important part tonight, and that is, of course, the Word of God. Like I said, guys, I just wanted to jibber jabber a little with you guys tonight. Acts chapter 27, starting in verse 17. Here we go. Which when they had taken up, they used helps undergirding the ship, and fearing lest they should fall into the quicksands, strake sail, and so were driven. And we, being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. And the 3rd day we cast out with our own hands the tackling of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was taken away. They didn't have any way to navigate, guys, because they couldn't see the sun, they couldn't see the stars. That's how they navigated back then. Ship or on land, either one. They used the stars and the sun. So between that and them being in a big storm, Luke is saying here, all hope was lost, you know, that we should be saved. We were going to die. We were lost. We were ruined, is what he's saying. A hillbilly translation, we were ruined. Verse 21. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. He's saying you should have listened to me. And now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. He's saying you're going to lose the ship. Ship's going to be junk, but nobody's going to die. I believe that's what he's saying. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve. Yeah, I know this because this is when they get shipwrecked. Anyway, guys, excuse me for that brain malfunction for a minute. Saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God that it shall be even as it was told to me. Howbeit, we must be cast upon a certain island. So he's saying here, we got to be shipwrecked upon this certain island. But when the 14th night was come, as we were driven up and down in Adria, about midnight, the shipmen deemed that they drew near to some country. And guys, that's where we're going to stop, because that's 10 verses. Self-explainable stuff, guys. Pretty simple stuff here. Paul's just, you know, Paul tried to tell them before they left, and, you know, the Holy Spirit was probably telling Paul then, hey, tell these guys to chill out here, not do what they're doing. You know, Paul was trying to get them to do some different stuff, and they wouldn't listen. But then even after that, God said, you know what? You know, you didn't listen to me. They didn't listen to you, and these things are happening, but you're going to be all right, Paul. Same deal with us, guys. How many times, if we listened to God, what God wanted for us, we'd have been in a lot better shape. But see, the good thing about God is He gives us second chances and third chances and fifth chances and seventh chances. You know, so that when we don't listen to Him, He'll still give us another way out. I mean, I've had it happen in my life, and I know you guys have too. So let's not give up, guys. I know we get shipwrecked every day. We get battered and we get bruised. We get tossed upon the seas, just like Paul and these guys did on the ship here. You know, but our hope is in God. You know, as a song I heard on K-Love last night, I guess. It's a popular song. You know, my hope is in you, Lord. Our our everything is in the Lord. You know, our hope, our faith, our lives, you know, are in the Lord. And, you know, if they're not, we need to be examining ourselves. So, anyway, guys, I hope somebody got something out of this tonight. I'm sorry to jibber jabber for so long, but you know, last 2 or 3 nights I've been so late, I've had to make real short videos, and I just wanted to kind of catch up and tell you guys about some of that stuff, and that kind of deal. So anyway, guys, I got to get off here because it'll take a while to upload this. So if any of you guys need anything, as always, let me know. Like I said, thanks for watching my vids, and all you new subscribers that I've got, thanks for everything for you guys too. I guess that's it, guys. So pray for me for tomorrow, guys. As always, pray that the Lord will bring that miracle that we always need every week, you know, so that I can draw payday and we can meet all of our obligations. So thank you guys for that. I love you all. If you need anything, let me know. Good Lord willing, guys, I'll be here tomorrow night. Until I see you all again, good night and God bless.